actual OBS setup, if you're using Streamlabs OBS, this is why people think it's a lot easier to set up, is a lot of these integrations are built in. You don't have to go to a web browser. And in a lot of these layouts that you buy, they will say if they're Streamlabs OBS optimized or not. In the Streamlabs OBS folder, there's actually a .overlay file that you can import into Streamlabs OBS itself. So you go to the settings cog, you go to scene collections, and then import overlay file and find your specific overlay. So I'm going to copy my directory here, Retrowave Streamlabs preset overlay, and it's going to take a minute to process everything and figure out what the heck you just did. And wham slam, thank you ma'am. They even have a welcome screen so it can tell you to follow their guide and everything. It's really, really cool. And they have a lot of this set up already. So a lot of these steps that I show in normal OBS are already here. I'm not going to lie, having already set up a lot of this stuff, I'm kind of annoyed that it's so easy. They make it really easy for you. You've got a PSD file for Photoshop of the specific logo options and an example of what that might look like. Pretty neat. I went ahead and open that up in the background here. And then you have overlays in the different colors that you want, as well as the panels and some widgets, all packaged together with a README and lots of good information. Here, let's check out the README. Yeah, it's that README was warning me that, hey, I need fonts that are used here in the setup that I may not have on my machine. It tells you the terms and conditions of using it, who actually made it. You can check out their vendor-specific page, as well as installation guides, tutorial videos, and things like that, which is really handy. So I am going to actually close this so I can actually install the fonts that, they suggest. And these will all be freely available fonts, although these are from a couple different websites, but DeFont seems to be the most common. I'm going to make a fonts folder in this folder just so I have all this stuff together because I will be moving this to multiple computers. I believe I already have that font installed, but just in case. All right, so for Google Fonts, if you ever encounter these are a little confusing. You hit select this font, and then nowhere else on the page does it look like you can download it. But you click here where it said whatever family selected, and then that little down arrow is for downloading. It's really weird. They do not make it obvious because it's meant to be used on the web. All right, and then once again, I'm going to browse to the fonts folder, right-click all of the zip files, and for 7-zip, WinRAR also has this option. Extract here. Ideally, you have all of the TTF files, so you can go to View, Group by Type, select all of the font files. They might be TTF or OTF. Right-click and hit Install. It's that easy. Now I have all the fonts required, so we can go back here to our overlay, and I should be able to open up that Photoshop file without any major issues, assuming the fonts are still the same name. Hey, look at that. They are. All right, so we have that one, we have that one, and we have that one. I'm going to go with this one for now. I don't actually know what this is going to be used for at the moment, because I didn't read the instructions. That's why you should. You can see here the letters kind of get a little close together, so we can use Photoshop's controls to kind of fix that. Holy guacamole, not so much. And actually, all I really want to do is change these letters. Okay, so if you go into one of the overlay folders here, for example, Retrowave Overlay Default, Green, let's check out Green, and then Overlay, these are .webm files, which is a type of video format that's really easy to work with things like OBS. And then if you play them, which will play back in a free video player like MPC or VLC, you can see what they look like. So this would be where you have like your top donations and things like that. You can just add those to OBS or follow along and we will set it up specifically how they want it laid out. Before we get too complicated, I am going to set up a be right back stream starting and stream ending and things like that, those kinds of scenes, as I feel like those are kind of important to production value for a live stream. So I'm going to make a new scene. We're going to call this stream starting. And then you will add these overlay files as media sources. So for stream starting, I want the pink screens, and there is a background one, and then the overlay one, which actually has the text, because you have a few different texts that you can throw up here. So I am going to add source, add media source. We're going to call this pink BG for background. Click OK. Then you have some options for the media source. I'm going to click browse. And what I'm going to do to make this easier on myself is click in the title bar or the URL bar here in Windows Explorer and we're going to copy that text. And then in the OBS pop-up here, I'm going to click in there and hit paste, make it easier to navigate. And we're going to add the background. Now this will add it as a global source that you can add to any scene, which will make it a little bit easier. We are going to enable looping, make sure close is not checked, leave it at 100%, and we should be good. There we go. Nice, beautiful background screen. I love it. And then we're going to add another media source. And that's going to be starting soon text. Browse, stream starting, loop, click OK. And then you can position that however you like or make it however big you like, depending on what actual layout you want going on in your stream. So for example, I can have that there, and then we can have overlays going here, or we could add chat, something like that. I'm actually going to put that in the center for now. We're going to leave it as is. It's super simple, but we will come back to it and expand on it. And I'm going to move that scene up so it's kind of my first scene so I know what's going on. We're going to make a new scene, be right back. And then you also see in here that each of these has both a stream ending text